Well, for more on this and other revelations made at the Madlanga Commission this week, we speak to independent security analyst Azaniah Mnisi. Azaniah, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. The revelations this past week before the Madlanga Commission, particularly that and some of the tremendous concessions made by Advocate Andrea Johnson and some of the evidence that was brought forward later by her colleague Drishanta Ramsamy has been staggering, to say the least. And of course, it brings into question the suitability of the organization and those that make up the organization. It's a relatively young organization. Where does this leave IDAC in terms of not just its credibility, but also its way forward, following what seems to be severe protocol and governance issues in the organization?
Good evening, Oliver, and to the viewers at home. It gives an opportunity of reflection to our government to make sure that we reflect on what went wrong in that IDAC, and then make sure that we correct what is that is not needed, because obviously the people who are leading, in this case, we are going to judge IDAC according to the investigation director and also the investigators themselves. So we have seen that Advocate Andrea Johnson did more harm than good, in fact, at IDAC. So it needs a total overhaul. We need a new sets of hands, brains, to be able to take the IDAC forward. There is nothing wrong with IDAC. There can be some organizational teething issues that may need to be corrected, but amongst other things, it was that there was no proper governance structures, oversight, and all that. You'll remember that even in the ad hoc committee at some stage, the former Minister of Police asked the question, who oversees IDAC? So for that reason, until the judge was appointed to oversee the IDAC, they were doing as they wish. So we believe that at this point in time, then they will be able to have proper guidance and governance processes that will be able to take the mandate of IDAC forward. We need IDAC. We need it to have more teeth and to be able to bite, but it must be more independent. So we need to learn from this. We are reflecting back on a scorpion that we used to have, to say, let it be in that position of the scorpion, because the disbandment of scorpion, it was not necessarily because of efficiency issues. It was because of political expediency, which the comrades needed to make sure that they don't have anyone or any organization or structure that can follow them around and expose the crime and corruption lifestyle that they enjoy so much.
Yeah, and just lastly, and I guess importantly, we also are now beginning to see the picture form around internal factional fightings between different parts of the crime and justice cluster. You know, members of crime intelligence, for instance, going after each other, using IDAC or not using IDAC supposedly and allegedly, but also using other arms of and other instruments within the cluster. It seems as though there's deeply entrenched factionalism, so to speak, within the policing. And a lot of that, the evidence we heard this week, seems to point exactly to that. What are some of the key takeaways, perhaps preemptively, that the Commission will have to consider around how to advise the President and the Minister on how to undo some of those deeply entrenched factional battles within the crime and justice cluster?
Obviously, we have seen, you're right, Oliver, it is a contested terrain, and there are different interests there from different parties, including the cartels. So what then needs to be done there is to make sure that, one, we go back to IDAC, make sure that the mandate of IDAC is not open for second guessing, because at this point in time is so much open for second guessing, and that's why they find themselves doing or going all over, and investigating cases that otherwise they are not anywhere closer to their function. So that is needed, and also to make sure that we have leaders with integrity, because you can see there is leadership, there is leadership integrity deficiency in IDAC. It was for that reason that the former ID advocate Entrenched saw it fit that her position is untenable anymore, and she can no longer stand there in that office because she is compromised. And you can see the moment we thought it was over, more revelations are coming out. So this crime intelligence and criminal justice cluster, it should be managed in such a way that there is no camps in between. And these issues of them policing each other and using their powers against each other, it needs to come to an end. And that's why there should be oversight committees to be able to make sure that these people are whipped into line every time and at all times, because we have seen that when you leave them to chance, they do signs and wonders. And this is very much disappointing, especially from a group of people that are seen as seasoned lawyers for that matter.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to leave it there. Azaniah, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Azaniah Mnisi is an independent security analyst. Let's take a short break. We continue on the other side of this.